Okay, what is the drug you're actually looking for? What is it exactly you're looking for?
Some sort of carcerand encapsulated poison, or even a carcerand encapsulated painkiller, which in high enough doses will kill a person, obviously, along with a little bit of DMSO. They should be not too hard for a person in the medical profession to get a hold of.
The problem I'd have is that I don't know of anything that's slow acting, at least not anything that's mentioned in the book. Even at the
trick is the carcerand. A carcerand is it's like a chemical wrapping for other chemicals. It has a specific time release once it's absorbed into the body. So you could have like a 2-day carcerand that after 2 days unlocks and releases its payload into the bloodstream.
Right. What's a delivery method, or does it matter? Can it be dropped in a drink or something like that?
The preferred delivery method, as Aaron mentioned, there would be DMSO, which would basically allow the substance, the poison, to actually be delivered through contact.
Right. Well, I mean, no, I agree with that. The only reason I was asking is that if all else fails, I do have a drone that can carry something like a pill or something. I'd need a software to tell it what to do.
If anything, maybe ideally there would be like a blank slap patch you could just try to press against his skin without him realizing.
More or less. Or
I don't think a drone would do that.
Can you get a hold of a micro drone that can carry a payload of a couple of droplets of liquid?
Yeah, my Dragonfly drone, it can actually be equipped to like carry explosive and fly into a vehicle. So I'm pretty sure that it can carry any small payload like that. I don't know about the other drones though.
Well, maybe get that equipped with whatever we get a hold of as well. If it can get a couple of droplets on skin, or even absorbed into fabric that's touching skin, it'll kill them in a matter of days.
Right. And with that, I'll ask Sean, do I need a specialized autosoft for that? I know I do, to equip it with a bomb. So, I mean, just something that would allow its claws to hold something and drop it on command.
I don't think it actually has like a clause attached as a default. The bomb one is essentially...
It has pincers because it's actually a seek and destroy drone, so it finds other mini drones and tries to rip them apart. So it does have something like that.
You could get it to carry something in those pincers, but it wouldn't be very secure, nor would it be very good at it. Those things are designed to just sort of shred through metal, like little bits of metal. So it would be luck whether it gets it carried into wherever you're trying to carry it or not. Really, it would just be such a good chance that it just drop it in the process, and it has no way to determine if something's actually in its jaws like that.
Yeah, I figure an autosoft might allow that, but it might not. Anyway, Kaido will mention this, but he'll not have much faith in it, but it is an option.
As for the carcerands and DMSO, yeah, he'll carry those.
All right, and just loaded up into the carcerand would be something like an overdose level of painkiller, or some type of cheap-ass poison like, I don't know, drain cleaner, let's say.
Well, go ahead and pick what it actually be, because most of those are kind of hard to get. As for an overdose, you're going to have to actually get him to overdose. You'd have to physically get him an overdose. So you would take multiple doses being injected into him or DMSO'd into him, and he'd certainly notice that.
Okay. Then, let's try and figure out what sort of compound or poison would likely just straight up kill him. Arsenic, perhaps?
Cyanide?
I don't know if there are a
Well,
lot of...
the problem with arsenic is that to get a lethal dose, it does take a significant amount. It would be the same problem. It just takes a larger amount, an amount that would be noticeable.
How about cyanide? That's a pretty fast-acting drug.
Yes, it is.
It's what killed Hitler. Well, no, it's what killed Goebbels' children.
Yeah, yeah.
We could also go with something like Naga venom, which has no known anti-venom. It's expensive, but I mean, we stand to make a payday large enough that 800 new yen isn't that big of an expense.
What page are like these deadly poisons on? Or what are you looking at?
Page 83 of Arsenal is where they start.
Yeah, Jaren's been referring to Arsenal for some of these toxins.
Yes, I have.
It should be noted, not that they're hard to get, but Coyote does have about half a dozen clean tacks that if you wanted to put a drug on that, just to slap it to his skin, that'd work too.
Yeah, the trick is that we don't want him realizing he's been doped up, because then, because of the way the Carcerand works, he could just get a full blood transfusion.
Right, exactly.
Because even if a poison has no known anti-venom, if it hasn't released into his blood before he gets it out, yeah. But yeah,
I'm
there's
just thinking
also
of backup.
poisons starting on page 255 of the Shadowrun core rulebook. Or the 20th anniversary core rulebook.
The only problem I'm seeing with like the sort of toxin suggestion is that you'd want something with potentially enough bite to actually be harmful to him, as well as perhaps go unnoticed, despite whatever protections or precautions he might have. It's no telling how paranoid he might have been about like personal biological security to begin with, and how paranoid he might become with that within the next few days, whether his, the awakened bodyguard who might follow him ends up like sort of like scanning his body just to check to make sure for any sort of like oddity or peculiarity. And not only my character, but I as a player am not familiar enough with drugs and toxins themselves, let alone 2072 drugs and toxins.
Right. Basically, do you know the mechanics behind how they work?
I'm
I'm,
sorry, I
uh,
did
Phil-
not catch what you said there.
I am familiar to a little bit with the mechanics, Aaron. Whenever I looked at them to see whether I was going to sort of like, maybe design like a gun, which used like a... I think there was like a super soaker type weapon that was like in the exotic weapons list in the core rulebook that you could use like DMSO with, along with like water, just like throw in like some sort of crazy chemical. But I decided that would just be too fucking crazy and outlandish for my character. So I know a little bit about how they work in the game.
All right. Well, basically, so the power would be the amount of damage they'd be taking. Yeah.
And the penetration would affect their toxin resistance tests.
Right. So, I mean, most of these, a single dose is probably not enough to kill him anyway. At least not quickly.
Do we know anything about the Rika? Is he augmented at all?
You're actually not clear of whether he has any augmentations. He's probably be very private about that.
Yeah.
As for the toxic resistance tests, remember they keep making them. Each time they make it, they roll their body plus whatever protection minus penetration. Penetration works like armor piercing. In this case, it won't reduce their body. It'll just reduce any protective systems they have.
It's also good to keep in mind that the core book actually does say that if you have a higher concentration of the toxin, it will increase the power.
Yeah.
Alright, anyway, we're just looking at it basically be like a weakening, distracting blow against him. Unless we manage to somehow, just happen upon luck enough to actually poison him to death. I don't know, I guess I just...
Well, I mean, if we got, for example, highly concentrated cyanide encapsulated in a carcerand, that would probably just kill him, unless he had some sort of implanted toxin filtering system, and even then, he still might just fucking die from it.
Well, a concentrated enough barbiturate will just stop his heart. I mean, there is that.
Yeah, there's tons of options. The question is, I mean, we're not sure if he has a toxin filtering system, and I'm not sure what the mechanics on that would be. Does it give him a bonus? Does it just make him not even
essentially when he makes this toxic test, which is normally he just rolls his body to reduce whatever damage is done,
he would gain the rating?
He'd gain the rating as a bonus. Minus penetration.
So yeah, if we get a concentrated enough dosage of cyanide, it should kill him.
Yeah, because he does keep taking the damage and re-rolling his toxic test each time, reducing the again until
and the damage on
reduce the power to
cyanide
zero.
is immediate.
Right, as cyanide would pretty much end any of us, unless any of you have a built-up immunity to cyanide that we don't know about.
No. But yeah, if we get DMSO, a cyanide encapsulated in a carcerand, and coat one of our hands in like second skin or something.
In that case, you might want to try to go after something that's restricted rather than forbidden. Cyanide, for example, is forbidden. It might make it easier to obtain on short notice.
It's fair.
So essentially, what do you look to obtain? That's the real question.
That is the real question.
This is your idea, Aaron, that Twitch is going to be asking, and she would certainly know more about drugs than, say, my character would, so I have no suggestions or possible input on here. What does...
Yeah, because she does have knowledge biotech. Or not knowledge biotech, but she has a biotech skill group. Well, she'd ask if we can get a hold of cyanide.
Are you asking your doctor doctor?
Yeah. Do you want me to make a contact roll?
I'll go ahead and roll that. What's his contact rating?
3.
And be willing to pay extra for that.
I'd say so. What about you guys?
How much? You have to determine beforehand. Up to
The availability tests are what are used to sort of gauge that, but
yeah.
The base price, by the way, is 450 new yen.
Yeah. The
Is that per dose?
That's per dose.
yeah.
And you're going to
So-
need like at least 3 doses at least?
You'll well, you
2
only
doses
need one.
should be enough to kill him, unless he has ungodly toxin resistance or way more physical boxes than we think. So yeah, a triple dose would be perfect.
But how much willing are you extra to pay beforehand? You can pay an additional 250% and get up to 10 dice extra, right?
yeah, for every additional 25% of the item's value, you get an extra die on the availability test. He's making, by calling this contact, you're going to have him make an availability test in the place of any of us trying to make the availability test.
All right. Well, Twitch will actually ask, how much might we be willing to spend? I mean, this would pretty much end up coming out of our final amount, right?
I think Vice would probably say, since, well, how hard is it to get a hold of cyanide? Vice really doesn't know this, and I'm just going to act like Vice right now.
Well, you'll have one for the party tomorrow. You'll have a one roll, and he starts with 9 dice, and you can get up to an additional 10. Each 25% over that 450 gives you an additional dice. And you need how many successes for cyanide?
Say,
14 successes.
14 successes. Yeah, I could also attempt to try to go looking for it myself on account of the fact that I do have negotiation plus charisma with the bargaining specialty.
Yeah,
Then,
each of you will be able to do it. Like, each of you will be able to do it independently, too. So he won't be able to get back to you for about 24 hours on it.
Well, we're talking about 1,500 new yen per dose if we're doing the maximum amount.
And that would
Which
give
is
us...
that match in the face of 30,000 per person.
Sorry, what?
Which is very
What
much
Sean
in the
was
face
repeating
of
basic
30
math. Yeah. We're not going to be spending a whole lot for the drug to kill a guy if we're going to be getting paid 120k in total.
Exactly.
And an additional $500,000 for Twitch and sort of resolve debt issues. Which gives her even more incentive to do this correctly. I mean, we could, if you want to, we can crank it up to the max, Aaron. That would be... Whew.
That's how much it would cost if we had 3... We paid 250% extra for each dose.
So we want 3 killing doses, 1 for Vice, 1 for Twitch, and 1 for the Dragonfly drone. That's how much we would pay for the
For the set.
toxin itself, and then a modest amount more for the Carcerand and for the DMSO.
But I don't think this guy would be able to pick up 3 doses of it in one day anyway, would he?
Well, it depends on who we make contact with. Sometimes he'll make contact with someone that has 1 dose. Sometimes he'll make contact with someone that has 500 doses that they're just willing to get rid of whenever they can.
So let's get him on it. Let's get Truthsayer on it. Let's get Twitch on it. Start trying to get as much as we hypothetically can.
Right, well, maybe Twitch doesn't want to spend her day doing that, because that would be an entire day. She might want to get in contact with the guy, get familiar, get a praise for the situation and the party.
She's going to want to get in contact with her hypothetical date first, and then see how much time she's going to spend otherwise.
I mean, Coyote does have a doctor contact as well that might be able to get a hold of that if you want to run 2 checks for it.
That could be very useful. Yeah, no, let's run the multiple tests. Let's be willing to pay the full maximum amount, and let's see how much we can get a hold of from multiple avenues.
Just remember, saying you're going to pay it and then not doing it, like saying, oh, I don't need it now, kind of pisses off contacts.
Right, I was going
That's
to
fair.
bring that up.
I mean, what we would tell them is that we want at least 3 doses and up to 9.
What the fuck are you
why do we
smoking,
need-
Aaron?
No.
What the fuck? Are we gonna get cyanide every single member of his entourage?
Right. Well, no, I mean, we want the triple dose. We want each Vice, Twitch, and the Dragonfly drone to have a triple dose, just so that we're fairly certain that any 1 dose would likely kill him.
That's gonna take a lot more than that listed amount. Then that would be 4,725 times 3. That is way too much. I can go looking for it just on my base dice without any sort of availability thing, and maybe spend a point of edge on it. I'm not willing to fork over that much cash.
Coyote certainly isn't.
I think it's overly redundant to try to get a triple dose for a drone that might not even make it, as opposed to 2 metahumans who'd have a better chance.
That's fair.
I think the drone is completely unreasonable, and I still even think a triple dose for each person would be absurd. The most I would accept would be a double dose for...
Well, I think a double dose at the very least would be very good, because it's a power 8, and it has an effect of physical damage.
Remember, even if you are shy a few points, you may get something. It just won't be exactly what you're looking for. Like, they may have 1 dice. With the full 14 successes, you'll get what you're looking for. With anything shy, you'll probably get something, but it won't be what you're looking for. It'll be short a few doses. It'll be at a higher price. It'll be things like that.
Say, if we're willing to pay maximum price for it, in order to get 4 doses, 2 for Vice, 2 for Twitch, like Jordan typed out there, that's 6,300 new yen. The Carcerand and the DMSO are trivially priced.
Yeah, I won't charge you anything for those on top of whatever you're paying.
Because a
because you'll be paying.
Carcerand... Yeah, a Carcerand is just 50 new yen for a dose of Carcerand. Or a unit of Carcerand. And I'm not sure if what DMSO is.
10.
Yeah, it's really cheap. Anyway, I'd still look for it, but I wouldn't want to take any availability dice. Anyway, for 1, I think there's an optional rule dice cap on 20 dice. I'm pretty close to that.
I'm not going with that one.
Okay.
I'm not using that optional rule because it just doesn't make sense.
All right. That's basically... But yeah, I have a lot of dice. I have a lot of dice. You can definitely put, the dock on and say, 2 doses if you, want to try to cover your bases. I can go looking for a full 4. But,
yeah, you know what? I think I would like to cover our bases.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine with that. But, I definitely wouldn't have my sense of inflated rolling because, well, business sense.
I have a question.
Let's see, it's supposed to be set for the afternoon of the 28th.
You're actually on the 25th.
Right,
now.
we're on the
The
25th.
afternoon of the 26th is
Right.
on the afternoon of the 26th is the party. He's supposed to be killed afternoon of the 28th unless you get a call. And that means afternoon as in literally just afternoon and before midnight of the 29th unless you get a call.
All right. So we would want it to be set to release somewhere around the afternoon to evening of the, yeah.
Okay. Querying. Say that we are actually called beforehand and say not to go through with the wet work. What do we do?
That is a good question. Our only real option would be to call this guy up and tell him to get his blood flushed.
Right.
Or take one of the, many remedies to cyanide.
Yeah, okay. I was just making sure that we realize that in advance on the off chance that a situation changed.
Alternatively, there is something called a nano-carcerand, which I think you can remotely trigger or not trigger. It's 2.5k per unit.
Remote trigger thing just sounds infinitely more dangerous because you're relying on actually being able to get a wireless signal to be able to do that in the first place.
Absolutely agree. If he's in somewhere that has wireless blocking, we won't be able to activate it.
Well, I mean, or deactivate it. I mean, I would assume you could set it, pre-program it to release at a certain time. Unless it's EMP'd or something like that, it would still happen.
Sure.
Question.
But I would absolutely prefer to use normal carcerant and think of a backup plan for how to rectify the situation if this gets called off.
Question. Is Vice still going in with smart glasses and, empathy soft? Or can you guys not hear me?
We can hear you.
I can hear you.
I'm inclined to say yes. If anything, Twitch can send you her copy of empathy software and give you her glasses.
Omnius.
So anyway, you'd have to go through the Coyote would have to help you with that since Trusair is going to be spending his entire day looking for a few doses of cyanide. But as such, I mean, say that'd be something that you and Coyote would have to handle. I can, crack his mind open or attempt to after the fact, but you'd have to find a way to track him down and obtain him.
But yeah, rating 6 empathy software will cost us $3,000, and then some sort of stylish-looking smart sunglasses.
You would need something powerful enough to run rating 6 empathy software,
Yeah.
Like rating 6 smart glasses?
No, like a Response 6 comlink.
Response 6 and System 6.
Response 6 and
Yeah.
System 6 is very, very expensive. I think Response 6
Yeah, fair enough.
it's like 12,000.
Yeah, Coyote
What's
doesn't
the
even have that.
response system on your current comlink?
You don't want to know.
No, go ahead, tell me. I mean, even if it's just 1, we can still get you empathy software rating 1.
So you want to know the system in response?
Yeah.
Response 2, system 2.
Okay, so we could still get you empathy software rating 2. That gives you +2 dice on all social tests.
Which is better than what it would be beforehand.
We could also hook you up with a somewhat better comlink. That's
I
not too
think-
hard, and Coyote can handle that part with
I
you.
think me and Coyote need to go and, actually get the guy I'm supposed to be, impersonating.
That's actually a good point. We need to kind of grab that guy just to make sure.
Yeah,
Yes.
and in that case, I think we've already decided we're not going to use that drone because it's too iffy.
It really is.
Yeah, no, I agree. Coyote, I mean, I was just looking at it. Even if it covert ops on it, it'd only be a 6 roll for infiltration. And, I mean, it'd be seen, and it's probably not going to work. So, yeah, Coyote's evening is free. You don't have to reprogram or anything.
Okay, so I think, Vice will, will probably just purchase some empathy soft on from the Matrix and have it download to his comlink as he's busy, getting this orc.
Now, I've got a question. Can I build the equivalent of a slap patch into some artificial skin?
With DMSO and whatnot, yeah, but if you shake anyone's hand at all, it's gonna go in if you put the glove on. So
Right, that's why I'd be putting it on the left hand.
And you could also cover it up with like a leather glove beforehand.
Sure, maybe.
True, but then taking off the glove to shake someone's hand with your left hand?
The trick would be taking... I'm thinking the handshake would be one of those ones where you shake with your right hand and also come into close on the back with the left hand.
Yeah, politician's clasp type thing.
Or even just... DMSO absorbs through cloth, so I could also pat him on the shoulder or any number of other things.
True.
The trick would just be having it in a way that wouldn't just drip right off. So yeah, Twitch will also get a hold of some artificial skin, the slap patch, all that. And in the meantime, Twitch is going to call that number to get in contact with that date.